Okay, Michael, how you doing? I got your work up, and let me just, I'm gonna try to. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the work. This image we've seen before, it's a great image, love it. Introduction shot. Now, as we take a look at the introduction shot, the narrative and setting up the narrative, I think it's very, very good, very powerful, very strong. The clock, I think, is the cement that holds things together. I do think the clock in some images is a little forced, like right here. I think that's forced. I think that the beauty of the clock is, and I think it's kind of forced right here too. I think the beauty of the clock is in the shots where it resides in the background, where it's almost picked up subconsciously. That is neat. Otherwise, I think that some of the clock is just really too. I mean, we get the clock. It's some of them you're just really putting it front and center, and I don't think that that's adding much to the narrative as much as the powerful nature of the clock. If it were seen as a less prominent element in each of the compositions. Hope that makes sense. Okay, one of the issues I'm having is that each of these images is really a completely different size. And I think that it's really difficult to ascertain and to establish this cadence to go through the images when each image is a different size. Now, you know this from documentary photography, that especially creating a narrative, is that to set a cadence is part of the narrative. Once you set a cadence, the viewer is able to concentrate on the narrative itself without going with these changes. And each time the image changes in the presentation, the mind is going, okay, what just happened? Okay, hope that makes sense. Now, some of the images, I can't tell if this is a diptych or if it's one image, because each image has a separation. Okay, and then is this a diptych or is it two images? It's really hard to tell. That's another thing that's alluding to the fact that these are all kind of different sizes. So if these are all 8.5 by 11, then this is a diptych, right? And this is 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11, and then another diptych, 8.5 by 11, another diptych. But it's really hard for me to ascertain whether that's true, because this last image is clearly not a diptych, and it's clearly not 8.5 by 11 either. It's 8.5 by 5, what looks like 5.5. Okay, so really having a problem trying to ascertain what is going on with the image size. Okay, as I said, the narrative is really strong. Let's talk about technical merits. I think one of the things that is happening is that your treatment of light in a lot of these images is different. So in other words, look at the contrast ratio here in this image here and this image here. Pretty similar, but look at this image here is more washed out. It doesn't have the deep contrast that this image has here. And this one is washed out as well, as is this one. So I think there's a little inconsistency in the presentation in that respect. Okay, some of the images, the technical merit, this image I would say is lacking contrast. Your blacks are gray, whereas here your blacks are definitely black. Now, some of these images, your blacks are completely blown to black. No detail at all. I don't know if that's intended or not. I'm guessing that with your experience it is. But over here, for example, if we jump in here, we can see that, okay, pure black right here, no detail left in there. Over here, the shadow areas, specifically back here, there's no detail at all, okay? But here, you've maintained detail everywhere in the shadow areas, as you have here, here, well, almost except for the tennis shoes, but that's tough because they're black and they're in a shadow. But here, you've maintained detail in all of your shadow areas here. So that is pointing to an inconsistent use of light. Okay, so let me just take another look. Let's talk about a little bit about focus. Okay, this image is, I think this is your strongest image, one of your strongest images, if not the strongest. This is also a very, very strong image. Okay, this image here is really out of focus. I mean, it seems like your focal point is set right here, but from there, the selective focus, you're getting really faded out here. Background is a nice soft focus, but that soft focus starts right after the young boy's head. So his visual plane is in focus, but everything behind him is out of focus. I would have liked to have seen the background as this selective focus, this nice soft focus, but I would have definitely liked to have seen these two in focus. Okay, again, these are subjective things I'm saying. I'm talking in terms of basic intro to photography. I know that you're an advanced photographer. A lot of these things, as I said, were probably planned out. But in terms of visual communication and in terms of visual harmony and presentation, I think that the main issue is the fact that the tonal values in each of these images is different. This is really washed out. You've got no black here at all, whereas here you have very little gray. It's mostly black. Your blacks are black. Here your blacks are gray. That, and the other thing is that the inconsistency in size, just really having trouble wrapping my head around if these are diptychs or if they're actual 8.5 by 11. I mean, I'm sorry, 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, narrative is super powerful. So great job there. Thanks so much for the written analysis. So fantastic job. Really, really loved having you in class. You're a man of few words, but you're an intense guy, and I've appreciated what you've added to the class and your presence in the class and your perseverance through your stylistic renderings. Awesome job. Thank you so much, Michael. Any questions at all, please let me know.